there friends, it's Gwen. If you're looking for scrapbooking inspiration, you're in the right place. Today I have a tutorial to share with you that's not quite a double page, not quite a 2-page spread, but what I'm calling a sister page. It's a page that goes with a layout that I have already created. Of course, I'll share my tips and tricks along the way, including one that will help you create pages faster. I've got loads to share, so let's get started. Today, I'll be working with Pink Fresh Studio supplies and a cut file from Cut to You. I'll be sure to link those below, and I do have a plan. I have gone ahead off camera and back the cut file, and there's a little sneak peek of the layout that's inspired this project on the left there. That's the page that's the sister page to this one. This layout is going to have a very centered design, and I am letting the cut file do a lot of the work here. I do want to add a little bit of mixed media here at the bottom of the page though. Most of you will know that I'm not a big mixed media gal, but I have found that adding it with a brush like this really works well for me. I can work quite slowly and I can build the color up as I go, which really helps with my confidence. I know I can stop at any time. Essentially, what I'm doing is recreating this page. That is the sister page, and that's the page that this one will sit next to inside the album. There is a full step-by-step tutorial for that layout as well, and I will be sure to link it below. The new layout will not look exactly the same as that first one, but they are going to end up looking pretty similar. And I want it that way because this layout is telling the rest of the story. So the first page I created when my daughter got her L plates, that's the first step in learning to drive. And she now has her P plates. So that's the second step. And I want this to follow that journey. I want there to be that consistency there. So I am really just using this first layout as a template, almost like a sketch in lots of ways. The cut file has certainly helped with this, but you could still recreate this idea and use this idea if you're not working with cut files. I'm going to do a quick sweep through the collection elements. This is actually the first page I've made with this line, and what I'm doing is looking for similar elements to my first page. So I'm looking for some florals, I'm looking for some kind of title to go above the photo there, and not match the elements, but just look for similar things. I'm also quite focused on the color of elements at this point because I know that I'm going to need to balance things out a little bit. I also know that I am going to have to balance out the yellow. At the moment, that yellow mixed media behind the title is really the only yellow on the layout. So I am going to have to pull that in from the collection. Truth be told, I was a little bit worried at this point actually that the yellow was a bit bright. It was really standing out for me and I was concerned about that, but it does come together in the end. So based on the last page, I know I want to create a floral cluster here on the right, and I really do want to position it sort of towards the lower section of the photo. I have a big problem with that though, and that is the title. This was the hardest part of the layout to put together because I just wanted to build my cluster in the way that I normally would. I wanted to position flowers in particular places, but then when I did that, I found that the flowers covered up the word out too much. That U. I couldn't have anything sort of covering the top of the U because then it sort of looked like an O. It made the word really hard to read. I couldn't have that, and it was a real big balance between putting the cluster together in the way that I really truly wanted to, but also keeping the bottom edge of that photo clear so that you could read the title really easily. I did end up layering one of the leaf die cuts under the U, and I felt like that helped a little bit. It's super subtle. You can see it much more clearly in real life, but it kind of did get me the layers that I wanted there, and it didn't block out that letter. The original layout also had a tag that was tucked into the side here, so I am going to recreate that as well. well. As it turned out, I actually cut this cut file quite a lot bigger than the original, so it does sort of throw out the balance of things. I wish I had cut it smaller, but I didn't actually realize until I had gone ahead and backed it fully, and I wasn't about to do that a second time. If I'd cut it just a little bit smaller, I would have had some more room on the right here, and I feel like that would have made that cluster a little bit easier to put together. So I am feeling a little bit stuck with that at this point. So what I do when that happens is I move on to another section of the layout. I do want to add a couple of little details across the center of the title here. I love this sentiment. It says gratitude, joy, smiles, deep breaths, and peace. It's also blue and is the perfect way to balance out the blue in the backed cut file at the top there. Kind of adds a little pop of blue down towards the bottom of the page. I auditioned a bunch of these puffy stickers, but I only ended up using one. It's that banner piece in the top right hand corner of the photo, and it says, "Love this." At this point, I'm feeling that the page is missing a little bit of texture. There's not a lot of different elements in this collection. There's no chipboard, and I have only used one puffy sticker, so I do want to get a little bit of dimension into my layers, and I'm going to do that with just some foam tape. So even if I have quite a flat papery style sticker to add, I can add that just that little bit of interest by raising it up with the foam. I'm going to head back to this cluster here on the right. I've had a little bit of time to think about it, and I now know that I want to create a visual triangle. I want to have an element here in the bottom right hand corner of the photo. I'll add some more to the top section of the photo, kind of above where that yellow tab there is. And then my third piece of the triangle is where the leaf is, near the word look, right there. So that's going to be the visual triangle that I'm going to work with. And I'll keep then this part of the P on the left there. I'm going to keep that side pretty clean and neat and tidy. And simple. That's the word I'm looking for. Clean and simple. You know, this whole process actually got me thinking. A lot of the times we think we have to reinvent the wheel. So every time you sit down to create, you've got to come up with this brand new idea, this new layout design, and start from scratch. And this process was actually a beautiful reminder for me that I don't have to do that. I can recreate pages that I love. I can reuse sketches that worked really well for me. I can copy embellishment clusters from one layout to another. I can use the things that I love and that I've had success with in the past to help me put pages together into the future. And they don't even have to go into separate albums. These pages are going to go side by side. They're going to sit next to each other. The thing is, I think this could actually be a bit of a hack, a bit of a way for you to be able to scrapbook faster because you're not investing time in trying to reinvent things and figuring out what works. You're just leveraging, I guess, what has worked in the past and applying that to layouts that you're making today. I sure am going to be doing this again. I found this really fun too. And I'd love to know, have you tried this? Have you recreated a layout, maybe using exactly the same design, maybe reused a sketch and copied a page? And how did that work out? Did the layout end up looking different enough? Did it bother you that it was similar? I'd love to know your experience because I feel like we can all really learn from each other. I really love reading your comments. So while I've been chatting all about that, you watched me audition that green puffy sticker in 100 places. It does not even stay on the layout. I was wondering about the balance of the green in the cluster down the bottom there. There's a lot of green leaves, and I was concerned that I might not have enough green on the rest of the layout, but it actually works out fine. I was worried about nothing because there is green in the cluster on the right there, and that's actually enough. You can see that the cluster on the right here is coming together as well. I'm feeling a little bit happier about that. I am going to switch out the element here on the left. I just felt like it needed something a little bit more substantial because that is the only element that's going to run along that edge there. I am also going to start to fill out this cluster above my photo. Remember, I mentioned it earlier when I was talking about adding a visual triangle. I love the colours in these florals. They're so pretty, and I am actually going to save this one for later. It does end up on the page. It does get auditioned on the left here, but in fact, neither of those floral elements end up staying. While I think about that, I am going to add a pop of yellow into the center of these florals, and that's to help balance out the yellow mixed media. It might seem like a very small touch, but you'll actually see that it helps a lot. Wondering where that flower piece went? It actually went into the O in the word world. You'll see that in a moment. Of course, I'll leave you here with some close-up images so that you can see all of the beautiful details. You know how much I love a layered cluster, and of course, I wanted to show you the details of the mixed media and the cut file. You might notice in the photos that that yellow flower on the left there is missing. I took it off after I finished recording. I'm still not sure I made the right call there. Let me know in the comments if I should put it back on. Are you looking for even more ideas? Well, you might have missed this video right here. It's a mega scrapbook layout share full of pages that are sure to inspire. I'll see you all again very soon. Until then, bye.